So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
Derek Sanders.
and we're asking some questions today about his upcoming EP, The Heavy Box. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
It's been really cool. I put out the first song a few weeks ago and announced the EP, and it's been really exciting, honestly. It's been such a long time coming. The first song on this EP I recorded over 3 years ago.
Woof.
So it's almost like a little embarrassing how long it has taken me to get this music out, but it's really exciting, and I can't wait for April 14th.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So was this like your pandemic record?
In some ways, yeah. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
Mhm.
Basically, it's just, I write a ton of songs, and not all of those songs end up making it into Mayday Parade or any other project. And so I was like, well, I may as well put some of these out. And so I've been just kind of slowly working on them. Like I said, the first one over 3 years ago, and then the most recent one was only finished a few months ago. Um, so yeah, it took a long time, and a lot of it was done during the pandemic for sure.
All right.
Gotcha.
The EP
Okay.
rocks. It's
Aw.
a gut punch, let me tell you.
Cool, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Incredible. So is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Yeah, so the title, The Heavy Box, it's actually it's kind of a weird story. When I had the EP finished, and there was a fifth song called Cascade Locks. It was going to be the piano ballad on the EP. And then sort of at the last minute, Jason Lancaster reached out to me about working on a song together. And so we put together For Dear Life. Um, to be honest, I wanted Mayday Parade to use, but couldn't really get everyone on board with that. So I talked to Jason about it being on the EP, and he was very cool with it. So we went that route, and that replaced the song Cascade Locks. In that song, Cascade Locks, there is a lyric it's just a heavy box, but it is so much more. And that was where the title came from. And then when I took that song off, I thought, well, I should probably change the title of this, but then I just didn't.
Fair enough.
So that's so it is a little disjointed and doesn't really make a lot of sense. And hopefully, I'll still release that song at some point, Cascade Locks. But and then the artwork for any project that I'm gonna do that I need some artwork or photography done for, I reach out to Guadalupe Bustos, who's one of my good friends, and he's just an incredibly talented guy. And I ask, what have you got available? And he'll send me a folder of just a bunch of photos that he has taken that he's never used. And I was scrolling through those and saw that image of, the throwing the flowers in the air. And I was like, that is so cool. And, I think that one of the kind of themes of the EP is letting go. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but almost 2 years ago, I went through a divorce, and so that kind of has found its way into a lot of these songs, and is kind of a theme, and felt like that was sort of just an appropriate image of letting something go. And so yeah, I think it just all kind of worked out.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry about that. And I'm glad that you're able to kind of talk about it openly now. I know that that's difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's really, I'm in a much better place, and
Good.
time just kind of does that. It was extremely difficult, and I was very depressed for a pretty long time. But now I'm in a much better place, and I am very happy, and I'm with someone who's amazing, and I love her very much. And life is good.
That's awesome to
Fuck
hear.
yeah.
Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the CP?
Yeah. Well, it's basically, I wrote all these songs with the intention of Mayday Parade using them. Um, and then we didn't, for one reason or another. And so I decided to, put them on this, and there's a whole lot more. I've many, many more songs that I've written. Um, I guess basically what it was is, I kind of started this as like an acoustic project. And so I tried to kind of pick the songs that I'd written that worked the best. I have a bunch of kind of full band, heavier songs that just wouldn't really work for this. I might try and do some more of that in the future. I might make this more of a full band thing, but at least for now, um, wanted to keep it all acoustic. So it was really just kind of picking the songs that I felt like worked the best within that world. And Yeah, and like I said, it's been such a long time. Some of these songs were written years and years ago. Um, but Yeah, they were all intended for Mayday Parade, and then they do kind of feel a bit different, though, I think, and that's perhaps part of the reason why we didn't use them for Mayday Parade. But it all worked out pretty well.
So, since you're still kind of getting the solo project off the ground, I mean, I know you had the covers, but this is like the first original music from just you. Have you started writing for your solo project, or is everything like writing for Mayday Parade and then whatever they don't like but you still like kind of thing you use?
Right. For the most part, for the most part, everything I guess sort of goes to Mayday Parade first, and then, but actually, the song Howl Canyon, the first song that I put out, I didn't bring to the guys first. I just wrote that song and was like, this would work so great for this EP, and just, used it for that. So I imagine there will be some of that. There will be songs that like specifically are kind of geared for this project. But for the most part, I think it'll still kind of be the same, where I have these songs that if they don't get used for something, I'll bring them here. And which maybe sounds kind of like, bad, like they're like leftover songs or whatever. But I think that it kind of works out pretty well, because there's kind of an intention for this project and an intention for Mayday Parade. And I think they can kind of exist together and still be really strong songs that I use for this.
Hell yeah. I mean, you
Absolutely.
said you write so many songs, so if we can hear the Mayday Parade rejects, like the
Right,
more the
right.
merrier, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Absolutely. And for those songs that you said that you've had written years and years ago, have you been kind of like picking and prodding at those over the years? And then with this, you were like, okay, yeah, now it's good for this project, or have they been like just on the shelf finished?
It's been a little bit of both. Some of it's like, oh man, digging through old demos and stuff, and like, man, I'd forgotten about this song, and this actually could be cool to do this with. And then some of it is like, the song might have changed a lot from where it originally was. And that's actually one of the things that is kind of difficult about this project, is that um, it's like a blessing and a curse. Like, on the one hand, it's amazing to have the freedom to be able to just do whatever I want to do with this project, but it's also like, it's just me, and I have to trust that I'm making good decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
I can really sort of overthink it. And especially because I have the freedom to spend as much time, like I recorded most of these songs myself
Mm-hmm.
at my just kind of home studio. So there's not like a deadline of like, oh, this is your block of studio time and it has to be finished. I could just keep on working on it and keep trying to add things and keep changing things. And eventually I have to go like, okay, this has to be done now. And it can be a lot of pressure, I guess, to not have, I'm used to having the other guys and the other opinions and the other, us kind of deciding something together. And yeah, it's just kind of a lot of pressure to go, I think this is good, but I don't really have anyone to bounce this off of.
So since you've got that pressure with like you don't have really someone to bounce ideas off of, is there like a nervousness when you're putting this music out, since like is it more vulnerable for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Um, that is something that, and honestly, I think that also probably has a lot to do with why it has taken me so long. I think it's a combination of, Mayday Parade's been very busy, and it's not having a ton of time to put into this, but also just, being nervous, I guess, and it is very vulnerable. And um, I think that's also why I kind of second guess it and go like, can I make it better? Can I do something else? Can I add something? And um, eventually I just kind of thought, I recorded some of these songs like years ago. It's like it's just time. I gotta do it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So, did you ever find yourself kind of driving yourself a little insane while you're making these songs at all because you didn't have the other bandmates there to be like, "No, no, it's good. Let's drop it. Let's move on to the next one." Or did you already kind of have that discipline?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about, driving myself insane, but definitely like just it's a difficult thing. It's a difficult process,
Hmm.
and really it's just that I'm just not used to it,
Yeah.
and I think that putting out this EP will help me a lot in the future. Um, Really just because this is the first thing that I've done. I'm so used to having the guys there to kind of rely on, and it's just scary, I guess, more than anything else. Yeah.
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Understood. So, do you have a favorite song off this EP? And on top of that, do you have a favorite lyric on this EP?
Yeah, gosh, it's tough. Truly, I don't think I do have a favorite song. And I think I honestly can say that. I mean, I really enjoy them all. And I also don't know for sure if I have a favorite lyric, but the first one that comes to mind is off of the first track, Home. There's a line, if we all try together to love just a little bit more than we do, something good is bound to come. And I really like that lyric a lot. And in fact, I came really close to, I mentioned before how I almost changed the name from the Heavy Box because of removing that song. And I came really close to titling the EP, If We All Try Together to Love Just a Little Bit More Than We Do. But then I was like, I don't know, is that too long?
It's
Is
a
that too
mouthful.
crazy? And yeah, I know it's a mouthful. And so I ended up just deciding to stick with the Heavy Box. But I was so close to texting my manager and being like, I'm going to change it to this. And then I just didn't do it.
Fair enough.
Understandable.
So could you tell us where your headspace is at while you're writing this EP?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different places, because it's been such a big, span of time, and but certainly at least some of them were in a pretty negative headspace just from, being written during the height of kind of my depression and going through my divorce, and um, so a lot of it was definitely a struggle, but it's always been like therapeutic for me, when I go through something difficult to write about it. And I think it kind of helps me even just sort of understand how I feel about it, and it's a therapeutic process. So I'm grateful to be able to do it.
Hell yeah.
Hmm. So, how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends, stack with headphones on? Should they blast at a party, work out to it? What do you personally recommend?
Gosh, I don't know that I've ever even thought about that, but I guess either, if I had to say, I would say it's probably best either just alone or with friends. It's not a very party or workout kind of thing. I wouldn't think. Maybe the second song, "With You on the Ground," is the one that's a little bit more upbeat and energetic, and that one might work. And Howell Canyon, perhaps is, as much as it is somewhat, it's a pretty sad, lyrically, it's a sad song, but I think it's got like a fun vibe to it,
Mm.
um more so than the others. And then for Dear Life, the song with Jason at the end is just like super depressing and sad, and certainly doesn't have party or workout vibes to it. But yeah, I mean, whatever people want, whatever they're comfortable with, whatever their vibe is totally cool with me.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
So this question should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe the CP for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
Well, I'm gonna say acoustic. Oh, I don't know if I have anything for a third word. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit, I suppose. I'm bad at coming up with stuff like that on the spot.
Fair enough. I only caught
Okay.
the first one. So you said acoustic.
Acoustic emo?
Emo, yeah,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Hmm.
Which I know is like super generic and not very specific. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Makes sense. So what is your favorite memory that you made while creating this EP?
Oh gosh, it would probably have to be working with Jason Lancaster again, or working with Mike Hansen. So Jason and I obviously were in Mayday Parade together, and this is the first music that we've worked on together in um, close to 17 years, which is just like really insane. And we've kind of reconnected over the last few years. About 3 or 4 years ago, we kind of reconnected and played some acoustic shows together, and have stayed in touch. And it was super cool when he reached out to me about, do you want to write a song together? It was really exciting to be doing, because he's just one of the most talented people I've ever known. And it was an amazing experience to get to work on music with him again. And then Mike Hansen was the singer of a band called Goodbye Love from Tallahassee, who is just one of my favorite bands of all time. Mike is one of my favorite musicians of all time. He's also, like Jason, one of the most talented people I've ever met. And I had never got the chance to work on music with him directly before. And so, he came to my house. So with the Jason stuff, we kind of wrote it remote. He lives in Texas. And so it was kind of a back and forth process through, sending voice memos and email and whatnot. But Mike, came over here, and we, worked on the song together. And I've just been a huge fan of his ever since I was about 12 years old. So that was such a cool experience. And I'd say those are the two things that stand out the most, for sure.
Hell yeah.
For sure, that's a big deal.
So on the topic of, Mayday Parade, we do have to ask, is there anything on the horizon with the band?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually just got out of the studio, I guess about a month ago. So we have some new music that we'll be announcing at some point in the relatively near future. And then we have a lot of touring this year. We're going out on tour with All Time Low in May and some of June, and then Yellow Card in August and July. And then we have more touring the rest of the year that hasn't been announced yet, so I can't really talk about it yet. But it's going to be a pretty busy year, starting towards like the end of April through the rest of the year. And that's actually been a big question whenever I announced this EP. A lot of people are like, is it is Mayday Parade still, like, what's going on? And this certainly is, Mayday Parade is the focus, and I think will always be. And this is just kind of a, whenever I have time to put some effort into this, I will. But this doesn't really mean anything about Mayday Parade slowing down or stopping at all.
Fair enough. Well, I'm very excited to see you guys at Bamboozle Fest, and I am manifesting another Starland date before the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's the best. Yeah, Starland Ballroom is, and you probably heard us say it, or most people have heard us say it, but it's just our favorite venue in the world, and the shows there are the best ever. So yeah, I look forward to it.
Hell yeah.
I love it. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. You're going in. What is your snack of choice?
Probably get mix of, I'd get something just totally junk food. Like
Mhm.
I usually tend to get salt and vinegar, like either like Lay's or like kettle chips or something. Uh, and then maybe I'd try and get like a banana or an apple, or something healthy to kind of balance out the junk food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cancel it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Makes
gotta
sense.
cancel it out.
Of course. So on the topic of food, if your solo project was a dish, what dish would it be and why?
Ooh, well, it would be something vegetarian, because I don't eat meat. Or I eat fish sometimes, but very, very rarely. But
Mm.
I would say, so one of my favorite things that I make, a vegetarian chili, um that is, I think, at least super delicious and super healthy. Um, so So I think I would have to go with that. It's good for you. It's a mix of a bunch of different things, and yeah, it tastes great.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. So for these last couple of questions, we're actually going to shift away from music, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So we're actually going to go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
I think about that all the time. I
All
really do.
right.
I know that sounds crazy, and I feel like it changes all the time.
Hmm.
But probably probably some delicious tacos. I
Mm.
don't know exactly what's in these tacos, but some amazing veggie tacos with some chips and queso.
Mm.
And then to drink, my favorite beer is probably there's a brewery in Tallahassee called Proof, and they have a mango wit beer. That's probably my favorite beer. So I'd wash it down with that. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that sounds
Sounds good.
scrumptious.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
So if you could live in one fiction world for a week, where would you live?
Oh gosh. The first thing that comes to mind is like wouldn't be a good one of my favorite stories and series is the Dark Tower books by Stephen King,
Mm.
but it wouldn't be much fun. It's pretty
No.
pretty horrible world. I guess gosh man, yeah, that's tough. I guess maybe like Harry Potter, just something, all that magic. That'd be cool. I'd love to have a wand and be able to cast some spells. Sounds like a good time.
That'd be pretty sick. Do you know what Hogwarts house you are?
I don't. Okay, I thought about this. I think I narrowed it down to I wouldn't be Gryffindor because I feel like that's just I don't know. Everybody, I don't know. It feels
Everybody
like
wants to
it's
be
like
Gryffindor. Yeah.
right. I wouldn't be Gryffindor and I wouldn't be Slytherin. So I'd have to be either Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. And I feel like at one point I locked it in. I forget which one it was. I'd
Hmm.
have to do a little research, but I know it'd be one of those two.
Okay.
Right.
Those aren't bad at all. So you're good either way, I think.
Yeah, I think those are good choices.
Oh
For
yeah.
sure. So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
Favorite color?
Favorite color?
Probably kind of biased because daughter's name is Gray. So it kind of just, like it wasn't before, and I didn't like intend naming her that, but now it's just like Gray's my favorite color. It's got to be, I love it.
Fair enough.
Fuck
We'll take
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
So as Gloria said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I don't know. I'm super stoked to still be here playing music. 2023 sounds crazy to even say that number out loud.
Yeah.
Um, I've been playing music for so long and touring for so long, and I don't know. I'm just very grateful that this is what I get to do for a living. So thanks to anybody who has supported any of the projects I've done. Thank you guys for having me. And we'll be out there on the road. I'll be trying to do some solo shows whenever it makes sense. It'll probably be not so much of a tour, but just kind of sprinkling in shows here and there. But I look forward to it very much.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you for now. This has been Derek Sanders, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.